No, not Sundowns Peter Mokaba. Our Peter Mokaba. Welcome everybody to the Weekend Review Show. My name is George Mokwena and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened over this weekend, the results and where the teams sit. Let's get straight into it. Hebe uSotho AmaZulu came into their game versus Orlando Pirates rock bottom in the log. It was so bad that they fired their coach and called 10-1-1. But if you know anything about 10-1-1 in the country, it's going to take some time. And it doesn't help that Coach Atazwane and Coach VV have to go through an Orlando team that had wobbled a little bit versus Makesi, and they were finding their feet after beating a SuperSport and trying to remain unbeaten in the league. And when you speak about returning his Tunzise Pirates, you think about the same players. You think about a Tito, you think about a Saleng, you think about Mfukeng and those type of players. But one player we all had not accounted for was Motaung CAF, a 19-year-old who's only played 3 games for Orlando Pirates, and he scored 2 goals in that game. In fact, if it wasn't for him chasing that hat-trick, Pirates could have had a lot more goals owing to better decision-making. But he is 19. This is no different to finally getting that girl to say hi back or how are you? And then you send 5 messages for no reason. Relax, boy, you're losing it. AmaZulu did get a goal late through a wonder goal from Xdean, but it served only to be a consolation because they went down 2-1. As Gama Kepula carry on being not only unbeaten in the league, but they've won all of those games. Is this the consistency we were looking for from this team? I think so. Royal AM, aka Siwelelesa Saint Laurent, took on a Skukuna team that had done so well last season, finishing in the CAF spots, narrowly missing out on Africa this year. They'd brought in people like Abosipo Mbule, Naboliseri Kapinga, so you thought they'd kick on this season, but it hasn't looked so good, and maybe that's why you don't go back to your ex. Now, we all know Royal AM's record over the past few seasons. They haven't necessarily been the greatest team, and up to this point, they'd played 4 draws and only scored 1 goal in 4 games. If you look at it on the surface, you'd think that John Maduka is not doing anything. But if you actually watch the games, I think there's something that Coach Maduka is cooking over there at Herikwala. If you watch them play, they're a lot more progressive, they're a lot more positive in their game, and they actually go at team. Think about the game versus Sundowns. They got to a point where they scored a goal and could have scored another one to make it 2-2. So it's not all doom and gloom, and it wasn't a surprise when Royal AM took the lead, with a goal coming from Ujiani in the 45th minute. What did we say about critical phases again? They finished off the job in the 49th minute through Motebang Serra, who scored to give them a 2-0 win. And actually, I think Royal AM deserves an apology. When the hardest working chairman, boardroom training matches was playing, everybody said you can't win while playing Uandile Mpisane. And John Maduka has done just that. And kudos to chairman, just like the number on his back, there are 10 teams below Royal AM right now. Sorry to interrupt the video that I'm sure you're enjoying, but I just wanted to say thank you for all of the support that you guys have shown me and my Overthinking Football platform. I'm a one-man band that's doing all of this, and I really do enjoy the comments about how, you know, SuperSport needs to come fetch me and SABC and all of that stuff. And I think it speaks to the quality of the content, but also the amount of effort that I put in. So I just wanted to say thank you. But the truth is that Abo SuperSport and all of those guys, yes, we're competing with them, but it's a completely different place. The sponsors are looking for former players, and to be honest with you, running some of these things is getting so difficult, and things have changed at home. So financially, it's a whole different world. So I wanted to try something new and come to the overthinkers, the people who watch the content, and say it would be incredible if you guys could contribute monthly towards the platform, towards keeping my lights on, but also making sure that all of the crazy things that I want to do, that I want to take SuperSport on with, I can actually do. And just for 20 Rand every month, I think that would be an incredible contribution if you can make it. It may sound like a little, but if we can get a lot of people behind it, then we'll be able to carry on doing what I do. I'll be able to carry on giving you the content and also expanding it, because we don't have shows like this, and us content creators need help from our audiences. So I just came here to ask you if you can. Here is the account number that you guys can use in order to contribute. And I think, yeah, I'd be very grateful if you would. But anyway, let's get back to the video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. How Gallants and TS Galaxy find themselves in some unfamiliar territory for the two teams. Can you imagine basically being in the relegation zone after buying a whole status or even getting UEFA Pro licensed coaches? We remember that speech, Tim. But a red card for Gallants in the 41st minute opened up a chance for TS Galaxy to take advantage of Gallants, and take advantage they did, scoring in the 55th minute through Ukabini from an assist from that man, Upol Boy, Buso Ditejan. But if there's one thing you need to know about the Free State, they don't stay down. Any other fan base would have been crying, but the Gallants fans rose up and supported that. What do you mean it's still Celtic fans? Let's do it again. The Celtic fans rose up and put Gallants on their shoulders, helping them come back in the 67th minute through Udlulu. The game ended in a draw and didn't suit either of the teams, with both of them occupying the 14th and 15th positions on the log. Still early days, but they should be a little bit worried. So Stellenbosch FC is on a mission to try and make sure that they cement their place as the third best team in the country. But this season hasn't been the best for them in terms of consistency. Yes, they got to an MTN Cup final, but in the league, they haven't been so strong. They took on a Richards Bay team that still has nightmares of the relegation zone from last season. Nightmares so bad that the team went out, got new sponsors, and spent a grand total of pretty much nothing to try and get that team back to where they believe it belongs. Unless this is actually where it belongs. Stellies controlled the bulk of that game, but really no chances were coming from both teams. In fact, the most exciting thing was an 83rd minute red card for Jaden Adams. Red carded by Bruce, red carded in the game. What's happening, Jaden? The match ended 0-0, and I'd imagine that this is a good point for Coach Brackies and his Richards Bay team. Stellies, you're gonna have to pull up your socks. Well, when you beat a team 4-0, then you have to play them a week later. One of two things can happen. Number one, you come back and you spank them again to show true dominance over that team, or they go back, study you, and learn your pattern. In Chiefs' case, they beat Supersport so badly in the first game that it actually changed Gavin Hunt's ways. You see, this Supersport team has lost a lot of key players, but also there was an injury to Grobler. And that made Coach Hunt want to modernize his team, start playing two strikers up front, putting the ball on the floor, doing all of those type of things. And honestly, there's nothing worse than an old guy who's trying to appeal to us, the youth. He just doesn't have that thing. He's sus. He doesn't cover the goal. You like that one, eh? No cap. Manje clean. Don't try me. Beko, so no, I'm not that old, guys, I promise. This Supersport went back to its roots. Sit back in a nice defensive structure, frustrate the other person's attack, score a goal from a cross that came from a counter attack, and then sit back and see out the game. That is what Gavin Hunt does. And really, if there's one thing that was exposed, is that Kaizer Chiefs is not called Sereno FC for fun. Without Sereno, you could tell that that team was not quite functioning. Whether it be the fact that he was marked out in the first half and didn't have an impact, or whether it be the fact that when he was taken out, we still had so much great play from the youngsters, but there was no one to direct the ship. But in any case, Chiefs fans, Gavin Hunt was not going to lose 4 times in a row, and he got his sweet, sweet revenge. But don't worry, Makosi. The only thing we can lean on from this game is that we packed out Peter Mukaba. No, not Sundowns Peter Mukaba, our Peter Mukaba. Our Goptemba has taken over at Chippa United, and it looks like Ubaba Mpengesi might have finally found his men. Extremely great play from the team, and you can actually tell that there's some real high-level coaching that's happening over there at Chippa. The Chili Boys took on an Arrows team that hasn't been performing so well, coming into this game with 2 losses and 2 wins. If we're being honest, they haven't played up to the level that Chippa has found, and it made sense that in the 26th minute, Chippa took the lead, and then further extended that lead with an Andile Chali penalty. That penalty was the most I've won the league more times than anybody else on this pitch type of penalty than I've ever seen ever before. Just look at the way he was standing before he took it. And in fact, all of Chippa should feel that type of confidence because they're up to 3rd in the league. Polokwane City took on MAMELODI Sundowns at the old Peter Mokaba Stadium. Remember, there's the Sundowns one and there's the Chiefs one. Coach Mangoba chose to rotate the team once more, and maybe his rotation might have cost MAMELODI Sundowns because those guys were not clicking throughout that game. Actually, I think he forgot about how close this game was the first time they played Polokwane in the MTN 8, where they could only beat them 1-0. You know, there were places where Chauke almost made Onyango get the same red card that he got in that game too. But we had to wait until the 82nd minute in order for us to get a goal in the game when Polokwane City pulled off a goal that shocked Masandawana. And that's not even the craziest part of the game. The craziest part was that it took Mamelodi Sundowns over 87 minutes to register an attempt. Not on target, an attempt on Polokwane City's goal. And that just tells you how badly disjointed Mamelodi Sundowns was in this game. What happened to the high score lines? What happened to the exciting play? What happened to the danger? And everybody knows what this means. No more unbeaten record for Mamelodi Sundowns. That's gone within the first 5 games. Listen, I'm not saying you must get rid of Umanqoba. All I'm saying is that there's a man, Ashraf, who's getting the Ntseki treatment over there in Morocco. Love Beknyan. I'm so sorry, Magesi. You can't play Pirates every single week. Sometimes you're going to have to go play away at Cape Town City. You're going to play a game where both teams are going to be trying their best, but you're not going to be able to score as freely as you could versus that Pirates defense. City really did try to beat this Magesi team, taking 9 shots and only having 3 on target versus a Magesi team that had 3 shots but nothing that actually hit the mark. Meaning that the game ended with a 0-0 scoreline, and I know I was expecting so much from Magesi after they beat the Pirates. But I guess that... Kambukesi. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you next week. Bye everyone.